Hey everybody, this is Dark Side Elite here, and I wanted to do this late video. I know I'm late about it, but I wanted to celebrate Batman Day. It's been 80 years since the Cape Crusader was donned into the limelight as one of the greatest vigilante heroes of all time. He is one of the first vigilante heroes in modern literature. There has been no other person like the great Batman that we've ever had. Other people have been trying to upstake his mantle and try to emulate Batman. So I wanted to celebrate this great character today. And sorry, I'm still waking up. I want to celebrate this today and go over some of the years of the Batman and where did I start at. And I know that I said I've been a Batman fan since 1986. So I do remember a lot of this stuff from a lot of videos and people talking about it and doing my own little personal research. So I wanted to talk a little bit about Batman and yeah, celebrate Batman Day. So the first video, the first clip I will show is the evolution of his bat suit over the years, and there's a lot more to his suit. So this is basically for the main continuity, the basics of his suit. So back in 1939, which is the Detective Comics number 27, we get the original bat suit with the demon ears and the purple gloves. Now I know you can't see it, I can't zoom in or anything like that, but it's out there for you to watch. So from 1939, we got his first suit. Now the next year later, that was the start of the Batman series, and from 1940s to 1950s, so pretty much for 10 years, he had the world's greatest detective suit. So this is the first greatest detective suit, and that actually, no, I'm sorry, for not 10 years. So from 1940 to 1990s, this was the world's greatest detective suit. This is the suit that everyone always knew him with. He had the light blue cape with the gray uh, spandex outfit. His underwear was on the outside, of course, blue, yellow utility belt, and his symbol was just a black bat symbol. Now they changed it after the 1950s to the 60s, and this was the start of when Adam West was on the roll. But they changed it up because they changed it up and made it more purple. I know people were like, "No, it's blue." No, 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 it's purple. It's gray and purple, and it was very velvety. So, but in the comics, it was still really blue. It was like a baby blue, and instead he had the yellow symbol in the center with the black bat symbol over it. Now, in the 70s to the 90s, which was close to 20 years, um, that's when they darkened the material and made it more darker. So, this was during the great phase of the comic book era because in the 80s it started to really downpour. Now, people could say the 90s was the great comic book collapse, but I honestly believe that it wasn't that big of a collapse because they came out with some of the best comics in the 90s. There were a lot of comics that came out in the 90s. And the 80s was basically the rebirth of Batman. Um, Batman was starting to become more of a joke character, and it was honestly due to the Adam West series. They made Batman into more of a laughing stock, they needed an edge. So Frank Miller came along in the 80s and literally wrote the Dark Knight Returns and pitted Batman versus Superman for the first time. Now, since the 1940s to the 19 I would say the 1975, Batman and Superman have been best friends. They were the world's finest. They had all those books out and everything else. You know, from the Scooby Doo cartoons, especially if you're an 80s or 90s kid, you remember those cartoons. So so in the 90s, they had to rehash Batman and make him a much more edgier character. So from 1993 to 1994, they had the breaking of the bat. So they had Bane, the Nightfall series, where Bane broke Batman's back, and Batman had to rehabilitate himself through training with Lady Shiva and such, and became much more edgier. I personally call this the birth of the Batman. This was the birth of the Dark Knight Batman, and this Batman was a lot more vicious. He was more brutal, and he was more physically intense. So he basically was able to physically take down his enemies a lot more, and they were writing them a lot more darker stories. They had to up Joker because of it too. So Joker had to become darker and darker and darker, and that's why I feel that a lot of people don't realize that if the the comic book decline happened because they shoved out so many comic books and people were not buying them. The 90s was the birth of a lot of minority superheroes because they wanted to get the young kids involved, so they created a lot of minority superheroes in the 90s. But no, none of those comic books sold. But they're out there. They're still in the vault. But WB and Disney, they don't care about that. They want main characters, and that's why we got the stuff that we have right now. But the 90s was the birth of the Batman, and it was a birth of a lot of explosion of minority superheroes, and people just didn't know that. Now, after they took care of Azrael, Jean-Paul Valley, when he was the Batman, basically he adopted a black suit. He was more. This was in line closer to the um the 1989 Batman movie, which happened right before the 90s. The 1989 Batman suit, which was Michael Keaton, the first Batman live action, big budgeted movie, um, that movie really changed the facet of Batman. It got people really loving Batman's character, and this was one of the big things that made me really love the character. I love the dark broodiness. I love the fact that he has a guile. He has a no beat attitude. He gets the job done, and he doesn't care about any type of aspirations. So he does it because he knows it's the right thing to do. So in 1995 they changed up his suit, but in 1997 they changed it up and lightened it up a little bit more, but they kept the darker tone. They went back to the gray and the blue, but they darkened up the material more to make it in line with how Batman is at the present point. However, in Hush, in 2002 they kind of went back to the classic blue and the inline that they did back in the 1940s and 50s, but but they but the artistry made him a little bit closer to musculature wise. Like he's built a little bit more. He's built like a brick. Um, we get into 2006 where he becomes the Green Lantern. This happened in an offshoot comic. Basically, he gets the Green Lantern ring and he becomes an exceptionally powerful Green Lantern. But the thing is that the Fear Lantern went to him first, and it said that you have the ability to install Great Fear. Well, no, duh. He is Fear itself. But he ignored the ring. He said, "Nope, I don't want it." But when the Green Lantern ring came to him, it says you have the power of great will, and you have been chosen to become a Green Lantern. He took the ring. He took the ring, and he became a very powerful Green Lantern. More powerful than even Hal Jordan. He was capable of doing things that Hal Jordan couldn't do because his will was so strong with the ring. Now, in 2008, we got the Batman of Zur and Ra. Now, a lot of people are wondering what the heck is this. Now, this was during the Batman RIP series, one of the best Batman stories I've ever read. It is phenomenal. I recommend you guys to go read it. Hush is great too. It really put Riddler into a whole new perspective for a lot of people. But I've always known Riddler was a very dark character. But I understand he was kooky, but I know he had a very dark nature, and that was due to the 1992 Batman animated series. Now, 2008, the Batman of Zur and Ra. This was during, like I said, Batman R.I.P. Now, this was a creation that Batman created during his training, just in case if anything ever happened to him, he would devolve. Especially if something ever happened and he was exposed as Batman, he would create a brand new personality that that he so so if anything ever happened, he would regress to this version of his mentality, and he become this ridiculously obsessive monster basically, and he would strike fear and take out whatever the heck took him out. So it was, I think he built it in a light because of what happened with Bane. So if anything ever happened, he would actually bypass all of his normal defects, his own defense mechanisms he put in place with his mentality and ignore the pain and keep going. But it actually evolved itself into a whole new personality, and he went after Simon Hurt and the brand new Joker, the Joker with the Cheshire grin that cut his own grin in. And there's a real long story about that, but it had just something to do with Jason Todd. Now, this Batman went after Simon Hurt, and he and Simon Hurt, quote unquote, died in the process. And this was this and his and the whole Batman RP is what started the whole Final Crisis storyline. Now, 2009, a year later, they you had Dick Grayson in you had Dick Grayson in the role as Batman. Now, he went they went back to classic 1940s and 50s Batman with his suit, but and because Dick Grayson is not the physical brute that Bruce is, it looks more lean and very slick. So the suit looks really cool. They kind of went back to the basics of Batman's suit, and Dick Grayson wore it for about I would say about a good year, and then we get the Blackest Night suit. Now, sorry about that. Now the Blackest Night suit is from the Blackest Night series, and this was the clone of Batman. This is the when you find out that during Final Crisis, Batman didn't die. Bruce Wayne didn't die in the explosion of the of what happened between him and Simon Hurt. I don't want to expose that, but Batman died in Batman RIP, but he didn't die, and you come to find out that he was captured by Darkseid, and his body was completely cloned, and it was created in an army of Batman by Darkseid, so he could take over all universes and with the greatest mind, the greatest adversary he believed was the greatest adversary he ever met. This Batman was formidable, and he decided to clone him, and he used Clayface to go into each clone's mind and use his morphine ability to basically give this Batman all the way up to what make Bruce Wayne all of his memories and morph him into a complete killing machine and be subservient to Darkseid. But eventually, one of the clones broke the hold and went after Darkseid, knowing believing he was Batman, and that's the one that got eradicated by Darkseid. And the one that got eradicated by Darkseid was the one that was the true Batman. He was the one who held the gun. The one that Superman and all of them found in the body, that one was one of the clones. And this was during Blackest Night. They brought back one of the clones. So we got Blackest Night, and then we got Brightest Day a year later. One of the best stories that Jeff Johns ever did was Blackest Night and Brightest Day. He basically had the rise of all the Death Lanterns, and then the White Lanterns, the White Lantern, brought forth a new White Corps, the Life Corps, and combated against that version of all of them, and brought back all these heroes that we thought were dead. So like Aquaman, the classic Aquaman was dead during that time frame. Hawkman and Hawkgirl were brought back to life. So was Green Arrow, and it was a really really good series. I'm looking for that on trade paperback. I actually do want that. It is phenomenal. I gotta write a list. But 2011, Batman is back. They go through the whole Return of Bruce Wayne series, and I talked about this during Bruce and Tim father son relationship. This is the suit that he was wearing during the Batman Incorporation. So Dick Grayson is still Batman, and Bruce comes back and he tells Richard that nope, you're still Batman. He's just gonna travel the world and create the Batman Incorporation. He traveled the world with a brand new suit, as you can see from the evolution of the suit from 2009 to 2011. Basically, the Blackest Night clone was wearing the same type of suit as the classic suit, but it had a fat bat on it with the death symbol on it. And the Brightest Day was all white, of course, with the lantern, the symbol of the White Lanterns in the center. Batman Incorporated went back to a gray, so it went in conjunction with the 1995 suit when it was all black. it went to a gray suit, and actually it stayed that way for a little bit. It was actually probably one of the best changes they did. I feel that blue really didn't make sense. I feel that black and gray makes a lot more sense, especially if he's trying to conceal himself into the shadows. Um, it went back to the classic the yellow and black symbol, yellow utility belt. That has never changed unless the suit completely changed. Um, and then and his suit was more tactical. So in all honesty, you saw from after 2009, he never went back to the outside. Actually, 1995 was a full suit. 97 was a full suit. 2002 was the underwear on the outside. So was the Dick Grayson suit. But after that, it didn't go back to the underwear on the outside. It kept itself more as it's a tactical suit, and it makes more sense that way. Now, later that year, we got the whole new 52 with Flashpoint and everything else, and it kind of molded the black and the gray and the blue and got this color scheme. I didn't like that color scheme very much. I think they should have went back to the gray, the black and the gray. It makes more sense. But I love the symbol because the symbol was a full bat symbol on his chest instead of a small little symbol with a yellow outline. I actually like that. I like that piece of the design, and but I didn't like the color scheme. The 2014, we get in with the Yellow Lantern ring, and I believe this is during Sinestro's war. I could be wrong, but I remember him using this yellow suit for a little while, and it was cool. But him with yellow on, full yellow, it just looks kind of stupid. But he does have the Fear Lantern in the center, the Fear Lantern symbol in the center, and he had the full range of the fear powers, and I believe at this point he was more powerful than Sinestro, and that inspired great fear in Sinestro that someone was already more powerful than him, and it was another human. So that really pissed him off. So in 2015, later in 2015, I mean earlier 2015, we had again another death of Batman. It was during Endgame, and Batman and Joker, quote unquote, died in that storyline, and Jim Gordon finding out about what the heck was going on, that Batman is gone, there is no Batman in Gotham City anymore, and he takes up the mantle and becomes Batman. He takes a concoction that actually regressed his body down to prime youth, and it gave him super strength and not super strength, but it enhanced his body almost like a super soldier serum, but enhanced him to the point where he can actually be much more physically fit and be able to take on enemies. So he decides to become the new Batman. It was a really sloppy run. They were doing a lot of things in the new 52 that really upset a lot of fans. I felt that this was the dumbest thing they could have done. They should never have had Jim Gordon as the Batman. It didn't make sense to his character. It made Batman more. He was in line with the law, and Batman has to work outside the law with the law, if you understand what I mean. So he goes places where the cops know they can't go, and he gives them the evidence that they need so they can go and make the arrests that they should be able to make. But Jim Gordon had to work within the confines of the law every single time because he's a hard-boiled cop, and he's been a cop for almost his whole life, so he can't break the law. So it was it was a really interesting take on a new Batman, but it just didn't work very well for a lot of people, including myself. So we catch up to 2016. I know this is 2016. 2019 is 3 years later. We're almost three quarters of the way into about to be three quarters of the way into 2020. But this suit right here is the best suit they've ever created. This is the best suit. If they change the symbol into closer to what the New 52 suit was with the bat symbol like that, then yeah, I would be all over it. This is phenomenal. I really like it. It has the black. It has the purple inlay. It's all black and gray. It's a full suit. It was really cool. I actually enjoy this suit, and I hope that they continue on with this suit and just evolve this suit just a little bit, make small tweaks here and there. But the rebirth suit is probably one of the best suits they created for Batman. And that's pretty much all of it. That's from 1939 to 2016. It's out there for you guys to look at. Let's move a little forward. Okay, now this is the short evolution of all the suits. So we got from 1939 suit in the top left. That's the traditional suit. Then we got the evolution to the very center. This is the suit that he's wearing, I believe, as of current. It might be a little bit different now. It might have actually got rid of the yellow the yellow stripe over the bat suit in the very center. But the one thing I really enjoy is if you look into the shoulder, the above shoulder of the bottom center Batman, you got the Fat Bat. This is the Dark Knight Returns Batman. This is the suit that had what we call the Fat Bat. And the one next to him, this was the suit where he was wearing the his cape was more upwards. So when he extends his cape out almost in the fashion of a bat, he looks like a demon. And it was actually, and his ears were I believe his ears, he had the longest ears out of all the other bat suits. And I really like that, the longer ears. So it really looks like he looks like a demon. And I like that. I believe this was during the from the mid 80s. I believe this was the mid 80s to the 90s. So this was after the Fat Bat suit. So I really like all these suits. Even the classic World's Greatest Detective Batman suit, and even the one in the mid to late 70s suit right here that's right next to the Fat Bat, to the left of the Fat Bat. So those are all the suits. I really like them, and it shows the evolution of his character and the evolution of the drawings. Because if you look at each of the drawings, they look different every single time. But his musculature has changed just a little bit, and also his whole demeanor has completely changed, and I like that. He was smiley, and it was during that whole grandpa phase, to the one where we got now, where he's edgy, and he's basically he's ready to take on any adversary, and that's the one things we love about Batman. Now finally, here, and I'm gonna talk a little bit more about a lot of other things, but this is the evolution from Batman live action, from Adam West, Michael Keaton, Kevin Conroy, Christian Bale, and also Ben Affleck. Now, there's a lot more of the Batman in here, but they're doing a comparison between the Batman and his version of the Joker. So we had Adam West with Cesar Romero. We had Michael Keaton with Jack Nicholson, and of course the legendary duo, the ones that we've known pretty much for close to 30 years, Kevin Conroy and Mark Hamill. And then we got Christian Bale and the great Heath Ledger, who did a phenomenal job with that character. And there's a story out there that Mark Hamill was actually very impressed, and so was Jack Nicholson. They were very impressed with Heath Ledger's interpretation of that character, and it actually put a little fear in Mark Hamill that he didn't realize that Heath Ledger was going to push it to that level, and it showed that Heath Ledger really, really wanted to do justice for this character, and he really wanted Joker, for the type of world that they're building for Christian Bale's Batman. Joker had to be beyond anything they've ever seen before, and they did a really great job with it. Now, I understand. I understand how people feel about the design, and how Jared Leto came with his Joker, and the Pimp Daddy Joker, I like to call him, versus Ben Affleck's Batman. I feel that we needed more context, because Ben Affleck's Batman is hands down probably one of the best live action Batmans I've ever seen since Michael Keaton. Okay, because he has the Bruce Wayne. Now people could say, well, what about Kevin Conroy? Kevin Conroy. Well, he was a voice actor for animation. He's a great actor. But the problem is that you can't see this guy in a bad suit. I'm sorry, he's not a physical presence on the screen. He's not. Christian Bale is probably the one of the next least ones. I mean, he wasn't very intimidating as Batman. Michael Keaton's he was very intimidating. He had that long cold stare. He had that stoicness that Batman and Bruce Wayne needed. But in what Zack Snyder created for Ben Affleck, I could see where they were going with it, and I enjoyed it. It was a broken Batman. This was a broken down Bruce and a broken down Batman that just didn't care. And I enjoyed that interpretation. These are all different interpretations, and I enjoyed them for what they were. Even Adam West's version. It was very cartoony. It fit to the mold of what they were building for that Batman. I'm not gonna say anything negative about it. It's kooky and it's very it's kooky and it's very cartoony. Um, Now for the Joker, hands down, Heath Ledger is one of the best. I mean, Heath Ledger's live interpretation pretty much cemented to me that if you take the character seriously and build that character into the world that it's in, the Joker should be easy. It should be easy to play. Jack Nicholson's Joker was pretty much a darker. If you really think about Jack Nicholson's Joker, he was a combination of Mark Hamill and Cesar Romero. He had the cartooniness like Cesar Romero, but he was very dark, like how they did how Mark Hamill did his Joker. Um, and it fit to that version of Batman because the way that both of these actors, which is both I'm saying Michael Keaton and Jack Nicholson, they came at the role. They knew that what they had to do with these roles, and they did a phenomenal job with it. Now in the animation world, honestly, there's no two better duo. There is no two better duo. Kevin Conroy and Mark Hamill basically grew up with a generation. A generation grew up with these two, and I truly do understand why people want Mark Hamill to play Joker and Kevin Conroy to play as Batman. However, Mark Hamill is very busy, and Kevin Conroy will love to come back as the character, but he will only do it unless Mark Hamill's going to do it, and Mark Hamill will only do it unless Kevin Conroy is going to do it because they love being around each other so much, and they know that they changed the generation. They basically had kids love Batman and Joker for years, so for decades. I'm sorry, for decades, and and I cannot wait to see if they're going to do another one. I think that in all honesty, if they're going to do one final movie for Batman and Joker, I thought the final movie between these two should have been um, the Killing Joke. I thought that the Killing Joke should have been the final movie between with these two in it, and it really cemented the relationship because that's what the story was about. It was a cementation of the relationship between Batman and Joker. However, in my honest opinion, they need to do Endgame. Endgame, the movie of Batman Endgame between Batman and Joker, you have to have Kevin Conroy and Mark Hamill. If those two do that movie, just keep it very close to the book, and let these two actors do their jobs and show the relationship between these two that they're gonna have one final movie so Batman and Joker gets to kill themselves and that's the end of the story. I would buy that movie hands and forward. I would buy that movie. That would be the greatest way to end Batman and Joker for these two actors and let them leave on a great legacy because Endgame was a great story that ended with Joker killing Batman and Batman killing Joker. And it would be great. It would be phenomenal. And I think that they could do a really good job. I think they should do it as a two-parter and a two-part 2-hour movies and let these actors really show their chops and let the fans really get into that book because that book was very deep and it got into why the Joker has been around for so long and why he quote unquote supposed to have died, but he always keeps coming back. And it was a great way how they explained it, and I think that the regular audience will really love it. Now now we're gonna get into Jared Leto's Joker. Now, I think Jared Leto is a phenomenal actor. I think that when he came into this role, he wanted to have a lot of fun with it. And in my honest opinion, if he combined Jack Nicholson with Mark Hamill and left the Heath Ledger out and became an amalgam of both those Jokers into his, I think that that would have been a great, not a pair sorry, excuse me, not a parallel, but a great contrast to Ben Affleck's Batman because you needed to have a pretty cartoony version, and I think that's what they were trying to do with his Joker because he was pretty animated and pretty cartoony, but the gangster aspect to him really did not make sense because that's not Joker in a way. Joker is one of those characters that yeah, he will have henchmen. Yes, but he's not a crime, he's not a kingpin. He's not a kingpin of crime. That's not who he is. He's a guy that does a lot of destruction, a lot of anarchy in the means of doing chaos and anarchy. He wants to do it because he wants Batman to come after him. He wants to play that cat and mouse game. Now, again, we don't I don't a lot of us don't know what David Ayer was trying to do. We don't know what he was trying to invent, and I think that even he was trying to figure out what he was going to do with the Joker. But we know that he wanted to have Joker as a main part of the whole movie. And I think that if he was able to flesh that character out and get a lot more with that version of Joker, I truly do believe, in my heart of hearts, he would have been a very good Joker. And I think that, no, not think, I believe that he would have been up there with Jack Nicholson and Hamill, but he would not been able to beat Heath Ledger's version of Joker. If you took Heath Ledger's, and I say this to a lot of people, if you took Heath Ledger's Joker out of Christian Bale's universe and put him with Ben Affleck, he would still do the same levels of things. And Ben Affleck's Batman would have a lot of problems with him because he wouldn't be able to beat the crap out of him. He would just be like, dude, you have nothing on me. What are you gonna do? Keep beating my face in and I try to tell you the truth? And he'll do everything that they wrote in The Dark Knight could easily be in what Zack Snyder did in this universe. So, and again, it's not a knock to Jared Leto and what he did with his Joker. It's just the writing around it made no sense, and also the level of design they put into his Joker, in all honesty, made no sense to what the universe that they're building with with Ben Affleck's Batman. It just seems like they were trying to go with a mixture of both a gangster with the maniacal Joker, and it didn't work. It wasn't a good fit. Joker needed to be an outcast. He needed to be someone that everyone feared, not one people wanted to be around. They wanted to be. They did not want. They If you want to conduct business in Gotham, yeah, you talk to maybe three people in Gotham. It's either Penguin, Two Face, or the Joker. And you don't want to get in the middle of Joker, get in the middle of his plans when if he has something going on. And that's why a lot of people don't like dealing with Joker, because Joker always has a plan for something. And that's why I felt that his Joker kind of in a way did not make sense in this universe, and there's a lot more to it. However, this is getting pretty long, and like I said, happy Batman Day, and this is what I believe with a lot of the interpretations of Batman. I mean, we got the bat symbol, we had the evolution of his suits, and another picture of his evolutionary suits design wise, and then we got the variations of the Batman with his Joker, and I still do believe with all the knowledge I know of Batman, Ben Affleck portrayed Batman quite possibly the closest. He portrayed Batman the closest to a broken Batman and a broken Bruce Wayne I have ever seen. Now, Christian Bale's Bruce Wayne, it didn't make certain levels of sense with the levels of training he was supposed to have had. Kevin Conroy, I don't put him in this category because not because of he's not a live action Batman. I'm not putting him in, I'm not, or that he's not a great actor. What I'm saying is his Batman is one of the foundations to how afterwards how people were trying to portray Batman. And same goes for Heath. I'm sorry, not Heath, but Mark Hamill's Joker. Now, um, same goes for Michael Keaton. His Batman is from the Dark Knight Returns Batman. They wanted to go with a very Dark Knight Batman. And his Batman is one of the catalysts to how we got Kevin Conroy's Batman, and then Kevin Conroy is how we got more of Dark Nightfall and the popularity of Nightfall and all these other comics with Batman in it. And same goes for Cesar Romero's Joker. His got the inspiration to do Jack Nicholson's Joker, but Jack Nicholson did not inspire Mark Hamill. Mark Hamill wanted to go closer to Cesar Romero's Joker, but tell it much more, way darker, way over the line. And but Tim Burton wanted to keep Jack Nicholson on a leash because Jack Nicholson could have easily just said no, 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 no. This is what we're gonna do, and made his Joker very, very dark. Heath, in my personal opinion, was a combination of Jack Nicholson and Mark Hamill, like I said earlier before, and he took it over the line. He made his Joker very, very dark. His Joker was scary in certain aspects because there was things that he knew, and there was things that he knew he can get away with because no one would take him seriously. And he says, "Why so serious?" So he said that no one's gonna take him seriously, so why so serious about it? And I really loved how the lines. I mean, everyone can say The Batman Begins was a better movie for Batman, yeah, but The Dark Knight was the Joker's movie. It was who was Batman in that movie? It was all Joker. Heath Ledger took that movie away from Christian Bale. So that's what I believe. Happy Batman Day. Oh yeah, not Dark Side Day. No, no. Batman Day. So we got Happy Batman Day. I know I'm late, and this is my celebration for it. I'm gonna be looking around pretty soon. I'll be looking at some Batman figures. I do want to get some figures in my home. Get another poster, but there's certain figures I want, and I still have my Batman from BVS. I have that. I have other Batman statues. I want to get the Batmobile. There's things I want to get for Batman, and I do want to get a Tim Drake figure. There's a lot of things I want to get. I just got to take my time with it. I don't want to splurge my whole paycheck on a whole bunch of stuff. So you guys have a great one. Like, comment, share, subscribe down below. Hit that bell. I will make one more video possibly, and I will be out as soon as I can make it. You guys have a great one. All right, bye.